summertime mode right now, which means that the garden is completely overgrown. We have canning to do, we have so much laundry to do. So my kids are in summer swim and they have practice twice a week, and as well as a summer swim meet once a week. So we are trying to get all of the things done, and on top of that do swim and summer fun things. So I have been kind of neglecting our garden a little bit. We just got back from a trip from seeing my husband's family, and it has not been raining at all. It's been a huge drought, and then while we were gone, we apparently got a monsoon, and so that made everything shoot up, and so I'm having to tie up my tomatoes. I showed you guys in the last video a tour of our garden, and that I needed to tie up my cucumbers, and I didn't do it for like 2 more weeks after that. So we had a lot of cucumbers growing on the vine, but they were so big. So what I did was take macrame cord and tie up all of that, because I ran out of the cord, the hay bale ties, which also, you guys, we sold our milk cow. I can go into detail a little bit, I guess, but I had been struggling with getting things done around here, and I was honestly kind of panicking, knowing that she was getting ready to give birth, and I wasn't completely ready to do all of that. I wasn't ready to milk her. I didn't have a stanchion ready for her. I didn't have emergency supplies in case things went wrong when she gave birth, and I was just really scared and like not really wanting to do it after that, and just thinking about all of the stuff that I have to do with the kids. So we made the decision to sell her to a family that we go to church with, and it was a really good decision because we left to go on vacation. They picked her up the day before we left, and although she wasn't due for another month, she ended up calving just a few days after she went to their farm. So the baby's healthy, she's in a really good place, and we can go see her, and we're going to get her milk too. So we're actually, they're going to milk her and give us the milk for some of her pay, and then they're going to finish paying us as well. So I'm kind of getting the best of both worlds, and I'm not going to be so stressed out. So my husband and I have also been working on our room downstairs. So backstory, we bought this cabin in 2021, and it was a 1-bedroom cabin. We had just 4 of us, so we had 2 kids at the time, and we put the kids in the bedroom, and our bed was in the living room. I've talked about this before on my channel, but if you're new here, this is kind of what's been going on. So recently we just added on, and I still am going to do a tour of our addition, just letting you guys know what we decided and stuff. But we added on 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms over a garage. We didn't have a garage. We only had 1 bathroom in the other part of the cabin, so it was much needed, and I have absolutely loved being able to spread out. It's so much easier for me to be able to get things cleaned up, and they stay clean for longer because, you know, people aren't just right on top of each other all the time. But this room downstairs was not heated, it was not cooled, and it was not insulated. So we had the workers that were doing the addition add some new windows and insulate it, and we have working air conditioner and heat down here now. So we are going to turn this into a bonus room / homeschool room. So we do homeschool, And we just kind of need an area where we can keep all of our homeschool books and do any kind of extra homeschooling activities in one room, because I am the kind of person that if I see something that needs to be done, I have a tendency to want to hurry up and do that instead of focus on what needs to be done at the moment, if that makes sense. So homeschooling is a priority, and I want to kind of give it its own space. So what we are doing is ripping down all of these uneven walls. I cannot even begin to explain to you how uneven these walls were. They literally went in and then back out and then back in again. And it's not like it was just like a bad angle, but it literally was in and out. So I was like, we can't put sheetrock on this wall. So we decided to kind of rip it out, which was so fun as a family to be able to do that. So once we got the wall down though, I was thinking we'll put the wall back up. But once we got it down and I was looking at how much space that it looks like we'll have, I think we're only going to put half the wall back up. And where this door is right here, on the other side we've had a pantry. Well, my intentions are to make our pantry, like our bulk food storage, will be upstairs on the back porch, because we had that redone too. I haven't showed you guys any of this stuff. So our back porch was never used except to store junk. And so we had that turned into a laundry room and a storage room. And it has been really nice because my laundry was in the hallway before. So once the back storage room is complete, we will move all of our bulk food storage up there. And so downstairs will be something. I'm not really sure yet. So we're just going to keep it open, and maybe we'll do like a reading nook or like a game area. I'm not sure. So if you guys have any ideas on like a small area transformation that could be done for like just where the pantry area was, I would be interested. You can let me know in the comment section below. So like I said, we have had a lot of harvest for cucumbers, and I went and bought some jalapenos from the Mennonite farm because my jalapenos have not produced yet, and I love jalapenos, especially on tacos. So I went ahead and bought some so I could can them. Now this recipe is super simple. You just chop up your jalapenos, or if you're going to do cucumbers for pickles, you chop them up. And I like to cut my cucumbers a little bit thicker, maybe like half an inch thick, because I want them to stay crunchy. I don't know if there's any other way to make them crunchy, but yeah, this works for me. And I'm going to can them so that we can have them in our storage. Now, we do not have a dishwasher, so yes, I could boil all of my jars and stuff, but I just wash them in really hot water, like almost to where I can't stand it. You saw the steam coming off of it. So I wash them, and then I put the food inside of them, and I put equal parts vinegar and water in them. So I think I filled up 3 of the quart jars with vinegar and then poured it into my pot, and then 3 of the quart jars with water and then poured it into my pot. And once that is almost boiling, then I can pour that into the jars. Now, because we're basically pickling all of these, the cucumbers and the jalapenos, the boiling time or the canning time is the same. So I just decided to go ahead and do them all at the same time. So I add in some spices. I add in some garlic powder and some sea salt and for the pickles I added in some dill. Now one of these jars I added in, which I have not tried it yet, but I did half jalapenos and half cucumbers, because I just wanted to see if I could make some like spicy cucumbers. I don't know, we'll see how it turns out. But my kids like the stick pickles, like the yeah, like this. And so I wanted to make them that way too, which these cucumbers were a little bit overgrown, so that was helpful to do it that way, because if you cut them in the round sizes, then they can kind of get holy because all of the stuff will fall out of the middle. So for the bigger ones, I decided to do the stick version of the dill pickles. So we don't like the bread and butter pickles or anything else like that, but the dill my kids will devour. So thankfully we planted 3 plants of cucumbers this year, and hopefully we continue to get good amounts of rain so that they will continue to grow and we can continue to can. I really enjoy canning if I have like a large batch, because it's just so satisfying to know that the food that you just gathered from your garden is not going to go to waste, that it can sit on the shelves and you can enjoy it later on into the year. One year I canned so much pickles and so many jalapenos that I didn't even have to grow them the next year. It was pretty cool. So I'm just gonna do a water bath can, and I used the ball canning book to know what I am supposed to do for my elevation and stuff, but I just stick them in a water bath. It's about a couple inches of headway at the top. I actually had a little bit too much water in there, so they weren't gonna all fit without overflowing. And then I had to boil them for 15 minutes, and then once they came out, they sealed and we stored them. Next up, we are taking some seeds out of sunflowers. Now, I didn't leave these long enough to get like a whole bunch of seeds off of the head. So what you want to do is let them stay on the stalk until you start seeing the seeds, and then you can hang them up to dry, and then you just peel the seeds out. The kids really enjoyed doing that, because it's kind of like a scavenger hunt. But you just peel the seeds out, and then you store them. Now, I put them in little baggies and put the names on them so that I was sure not to get them mixed up when it came time for planting next year. It is also time to gather herbs and harvest them, dry them out, and store them for future use. A lot of these herbs I had not grown before, so I used my traditional herbal book, I'll link it down below, to know how to make tinctures or use it for medicine. So we have feverfew, which is great for, as its name is said, fevers. It's good for other things too, but you keep the flowers for that. Then we had basil, we had anise, hyssop, several things, and I just gathered them all in my basket and put them later on a drying dehydrator to save for future use. Now we have a peach tree, and just gathering some of the tomatoes that are right. Now, backstory on our peach tree, we bought this when we first moved in 2021, and last year, 2023, it did its first harvest, and we had like 50 peaches on there that were so big and juicy. This year, I did not prune it the year before, and there were so many peaches on there, it weighed all of the branches down, and they didn't get very big, and they are having to ripen inside. So they're not quite as good this year. I do plan on pruning it in the fall after it's done fruiting, and we can hopefully get a better harvest next year. But last year I was able to like can some peaches and also just have some for fresh eating. They're so good. They're so good. So it's definitely worth it. Like I said, after I gathered the herbs, I dehydrated them. So I have this dehydrator, and you can just lay them out to let them dry on their own, but the dehydrator just goes so much faster. You just take them off, put them in layers, and then turn it on for just a couple hours, and it dries them out so much better. So the reason why you want to dry them out really well is because you don't want any kind of mold. So if there's any kind of moisture left in there and you put them in a jar for storage, then you are going to get mold, even if you're making like an oil or a salve or anything like that. So I wanted to make sure that they got completely dry, and I had a few, hours to harvest them, and I was able to put them up once they were dried the next day. So I think sometimes if I do them on just a drying rack, I forget about them for too long. It just doesn't get done the way it should, or I forget what I harvested. So this way I'm able to harvest and get them put up in a short amount of time and remember what I'm doing. A lot of these I will use for teas, and then some of them I'm going to make tinctures out of. So here's a shot of the herbal book that I use, but I wanted to make some calendula lotion this year. So the first thing I have to do is make an infused oil. So you put the dried calendula in a jar, and then you put your oil on top, and you let it sit for several weeks until you can do something else with it. So I've got to read up on how to make a lotion. So this is the area that we had our laundry room, and since our laundry room is now on the back porch and I absolutely love it, I wanted to move this cabinet back there because it kept a lot of our storage for our laundry. It also holds a lot of like our crafts and stuff like that. So eventually I will move this into what is now our office. Move the crafting stuff, or I have a lot of fabrics for when I sew. Right now it is in this cabinet, and I'm just going to keep it there until we get another space for it, and then I can just keep laundry room supplies back here, or towels, or whatever it is. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please hit that subscribe button if you did, and I will see you in the next video.